with the millions.
It's that world heavyweight flow. Championship belt wrapped around my waist, yo. I got that Ric Flair figure flow. Slam you on the pavement, that's why they call me Street Pro. Create heat on beat flow. Like Jordan after the second time he three-peated, folks. Get ready, set, let's go. Fight toe to toe, release the flow created by this mic pro. Lights, camera, get low. Action packed, back to back. In fact, this monster will grow. Y'all better let him know. Man with the master plan, and you have no need to know. You came prepared, now get ready for the show.
Sports Professor. Oh, shit.
Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up, friends? You know who it is. Omar, the Professor Fonseca, here with another installment of the Professor's Semanalmente. Again, for you marks out there that haven't learned yet, that means weekly in Spanish. So check yourself before you wreck yourself. We're talking today, as always, getting our weekly news headlines in, sports, entertainment, pop culture, all that good stuff. Make sure you are subscribed at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. You see it on the sign. You see it on the T-shirt. You see the QR code up in the corner. I don't know which way it is because I think my camera is mirrored backwards. But anyways, if you scan that QR code, you can subscribe to our YouTube, which is most important, and also follow our Instagram. So again, make sure you're subscribed at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. And today we have a special guest coming in. He goes by the Felonious Chef, aka my boy KB, coming in to talk about life as a musical artist, a sous chef, and his future dreams for his restaurant business. So that should be a good interview there around 6:45-ish today. But anyways, let's go ahead and kick this bad boy off. First of all, happy Veterans Day to all my veteran brethren out there. I want to just give you a little history breakdown. Veterans Day was originally commemorated as Armistice Day at the end of the World War I. There are currently an estimated 15.8 million veterans alive in the United States right now, representing around 6% of the adult population. So a little more than one out of every 20 people you see could be a veteran. So make sure you thank them for their service. Veterans obviously served during peacetime, wartime. A third of them served in Vietnam, a quarter served in the Gulf War, and over 25%, 28% to be exact, have served since 9/11. So the percentage of veterans alive today who served in those wars, we must never forget them. There are not very many left from those older wars. I found out it's only less than 0.2% still alive from World War II. And World War I, there is no known living veterans at all. The last U.S. soldier known from World War I was laid to peacefully to rest in power in 2007. So again, happy Veterans Day. Shout out to all my veterans out there. Let me make sure I'm staying on top of my comments and everything. All right, cool. Yeah, we're live on Instagram. Yes, we are. Yeah, you're right. We're live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Just make sure you stay updated at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. Let's get the U.S. news portion of this started. So last week we talked about the election, obviously being the big news. As we move into the new week, we have to figure out, we've seen how world leaders started to respond. A lot of them responded positively. You can't really think they're going to respond in the media any other way. Even Putin had a funny one where he was like, or the spokesman came out and said, we don't talk with enemy countries. And then it came out to find out that Elon Musk has been back channeling with Putin. And we know that Trump has a relationship with him anyways, but we'll have to see how this plays out into the global part of things, the wars around the world, foreign exchange, economy policies, things like that. But what's most important this week and what's really been talked about has been how President-elect Trump has started to fill his cabinet. And so we've seen names coming out this week, names such as South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, who has been picked to lead the Department of Homeland Security, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee to lead as U.S. Ambassador to Israel, former Texas Congressman John Ratcliffe as CIA Director. And then we get into some other ones, which people start to look at, okay, these are Trump loyalists, Trump sycophants. What a great word for a Puerto Rican on a TV show. Shout out, Conan. I hope you're doing better, my brother. Be back soon. We love you. But seems like he's filling out people that are just going to be loyal to everything that he wants to do. A bunch of yes men, which is what he had before, but these have a little more star power and power in general. Marco Rubio, he is chosen for Secretary of State, which is a weird dichotomy there, seeing how he's not cool with DeSantis anymore. So it kind of messes up Florida because it takes Rubio out, and then DeSantis has to fill the senator spot, which they rumor Trump wants to go to his daughter, Laura Trump. I'm crazy with that. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. A lot of people have issues with this because her connections to Russia. You don't really want someone with certain connections to foreign establishments being the Director of National Intelligence. Probably not a good look because you want to make sure that our intelligence is not escaping. And by the way, I've got some news on that for somebody who gave away secrets. I've got what their punishment was that was just released this past week. Finally, two really controversial picks. The first one being Pete Hegseth, who is a veteran and he should be honored for his service. He served admirably for 20 years, deploying twice, and has 2 Bronze Stars. And for that, we give him a salute here because we love all our veterans. But he has been headed to take over the Department of Defense. I used to work at the Department of Defense for a long, long time. The issue with this is not that he's a soldier. Soldiers, people that were on that front deserve these chances. The problem is he has been a Fox News host and contributor since 2014. He's been running the Fox and Friends weekend show. He hasn't been on the front lines. He hasn't been working at the Pentagon on top of these intelligence reports. And when you have all these global conflicts and escalations, it makes it hard to trust that someone that hasn't had that experience in a long time may be able to even regain it. And even then, he had wartime experience, which is a lot different than running the whole Department of Defense. So I wish him the best of luck because I obviously love our country and I want nothing to happen to, especially the Department of Defense. I used to work at many agencies that are a part of that. I've met many friends there, many colleagues. So I just think that's a really weird choice. Most of his choices are just people with not a lot of experience in the field that they're trying to, or the position that they're trying to attain. Like, look at this. Another controversial choice. RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr., chosen as the Health and Human Service Secretary. Guess normally it wouldn't be a controversial pick per se, but he does lean one certain way on vaccines. He's a well-known to be against vaccines, and other things like the fluoride that we talked about. And we don't necessarily know if those things are an issue, but we do need somebody neutral that would not necessarily decide one way or the other, that we would do more research and fact-finding before those decisions were made, instead of just jumping head in on things that you believe, but maybe half of the country, or maybe even more than half the country, doesn't believe, because a lot of the country does believe in science. And then finally, the most controversial of the picks, and again, these have to be vetted through the Senate. And what a weird part about this is, and we'll have our political strategist Amul Madan on either next week or the week after, but when we bring him back on, we'll ask him about Trump wanting to recess the Senate during the holidays so he could stay and push all his picks through so they didn't have to get vetted by the Senate. I mean, I tell you, I don't know what we're doing here. I mean, the Republicans and GOP have fought the filibuster and so many other things that the Democrats had talked about. And then Trump just wants to unilaterally have this power. I mean, that's just, if you're going to have it one way, you can't have it the other way. We've got to have it stringent across the board for everyone. But Attorney General Matt Gaetz, yeah, he went to William and Mary Law School. Shout out William and Mary from the DMV. I love William and Mary. You got a lot of beautiful campus and other beautiful sites on campus, shall I say. I've been there plenty of times. So great school. He's a man that is currently being investigated. How can your attorney general currently be under investigation for alleged improper relationship with a minor? Can we get somebody with a clean record? Now, I am not one to throw stone in glass houses. I know I've made my fair mistakes. I've never been with any minors. But damn it, man, can we at least have somebody clean? That just doesn't make any sense. So again, a lot of these picks are going to be fought. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited to see what Amul has to say about that. Hey, Albert, thank you for tuning in. Y'all make sure you join at the Bottom Line Sports. No, and they haven't been. They haven't. I'm not saying that they have been. I wasn't arguing that. I was just arguing the fact that it should be. Biden did pick people that were also leaning one way or the other, but that shouldn't be the case. And that's what I'm getting at. But also what we're talking about, right, is certain things that are just very contradictory to the position they're being put in. And the only reason they're even being put there is because Donald Trump likes them. That's what I'm saying. It should be more of who has the best qualifications for this position. So, and even with Vivek Ramaswamy, you're not going to hear me say anything about that. I hope that he does well in the government efficiency thing. But to really say, oh, we should put Elon Musk there because he's a billionaire, he inherited a lot of his wealth in the first place from his family, but he is a smart guy. I don't think that necessarily means that he needs to be running government efficiency. Now, again, more power to him. I hope they get it done. He's obviously smart enough. I just don't. I don't see the necessary qualifications. I need to see the experience. When I got hired as a defense contractor, they didn't do that because I just came off the street out of high school and wanted to work for the government. No, I had 10 years of experience or 8 years at that time of experience. So, people need to have the necessary qualifications. That's what I'm saying, Alberto. You know me, I'm very neutral on everything. And I think it should be that way all the time. And especially in our government. And that's why our government is so screwed up now, because it's so, the politics are so strained one way or the other, depending on how certain people feel, that it just really ruins it for the rest of us, the constituents of the actual nation that are supposed to be the ones that are actually served. So yeah, you know how it goes. You're in the military. Anyway, so we'll see how all of that plays out here coming up. But one thing is I found this to be a cool survey done. It's by a marketing research firm called Grow Progress. And so they run marketing research tests. You know me, I'm a digital marketer, so I love this. They tested on October 30th, 4,023 adults nationwide. They tested on 9 real celebrity presidential endorsements. So, this year there were a lot of celebrity endorsements, right? So they tested to see how much of an effect celebrities actually have on endorsements. And they found, ta-da, you may have thought this, that it's not really a big effect. And a lot of times it has a backwards effect. It has a negative connotation to the actual politician running for office. So they examined on the Democrat side, they examined 5 of the endorsements for Harris, found that they had no measurable effect out of 6. So 5 people out of 6 had no effect, and they examined Beyonce, John Legend, Eminem, Bruce Springsteen, Maggie Rogers, and Leonardo DiCaprio. And then for Trump, they looked at Hulk Hogan, Jason Aldean, and Dr. Phil. And they found that for Donald Trump, at this point, even Jason Aldean and Dr. Phil actually moved respondents away from feeling good about Trump. It brought a negative connotation. So it looks like only 2, one on each side, out of these. Obviously, this is a subsect of people. You can extrapolate those numbers to the larger U.S. population, but I found it kind of interesting that one on each side, but only 2 celebrities out of 9 had an effect on how people actually voted this year. So, cool little professor's stat for you there. Now, I do want to talk about some serious information that we talked about earlier when we talked about the Department of Defense, when we talked about Tulsi Gabbard going up for the university, for the Director of National Intelligence. I worked in Intel for a long time, so I know this area quite well. And I like our information to be protected. And I think that our information should be protected at all costs so it doesn't get into the hands of the enemy. Well, Jack Teixeira, a former Massachusetts Air National Guard member who was arrested last year for leaking classified U.S. military documents, was sentenced yesterday to 15 years in prison. Get what you get, big dog. That's what they say on the streets. You get what you get, big dog. You know what I mean? If you decide that you're going to go and leak our classified military documents, and this was, the incident is considered the most extensive intelligence breach in at least a decade, probably from some former people we saw screw them too. They don't need publicity, so I'm not going to say their names right now, even though I have a close connection with one of them because I trained a pupil of mine and they were their future colleague. It's very weird, like 6 degrees of separation. I don't even want to talk about that though because I ain't involved with that. You know that. Omar be on top of his shit. The sentencing comes after Teixeira, who turns 23 next month, pleaded guilty in March to 6 federal counts of willfully retaining and transmitting national defense information. In exchange for his plea, they spared him from being charged with additional counts under the Espionage Act. Teixeira was then an informational technology specialist, IT specialist, who had a top secret clearance in 2021, 2 years after enlisting in the Air National Guard. But outside of work, he had a secret double life. He had been uploading this classified information, if you remember, to a Discord server where him and his gamer friends gathered every week. Defense for him. Come on, defense. I know you got to make a defense. I know as lawyers, that's what you're paid to do, come up with something to defend him. But there's got to be something other than he didn't mean harm. He wanted to keep his friends apprised of world events. I was born in the morning. I wasn't born this morning. And I'll tell you right now, the first rule that they tell you when you get a clearance and when you go into Intel is if you say anything you hear within these walls, you are subject to go to jail. He gone. Not going to feel bad for you. Learn your lesson and come back into society and be a productive citizen, Jack. That's all I can say. Hey, thank you again for always tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. Make sure you hit that like button. No one's hit that like button. I see Alberto's over here complaining while I'm reading the article to make sure I got my fact right, but he ain't good enough to hit the like button for me. Okay. She overspent on her campaign by millions. I've never heard of such a thing. I don't know why you're so hung up on this. The election was a week ago. Your candidate won. I'm not even defending Kamala. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. I don't care either way. I hate both parties. I think all politicians suck, as anyone who knows this program knows. They're all liars, cheats, and scums, just like your beloved Trump, who also spent lots of money, including Russian money and Chinese money, to fund his campaigns. So if you really want to go deep into it, I know all this shit, and you don't really want to get into that with me. But yeah, you want to know why she spent millions? Because she had the money. There were almost $1 billion donated to her campaign. Was she supposed to just not use the donations? Oh, you know what? I'll just try to beat him myself over goodwill. No, of course she needs to use the donations. If you have the money, use it. Ain't no point in just letting it sit there. Ain't gonna do nothing. Anyways, I still love you. So make sure y'all join the Bottom Line Sports. We go live every Sunday at 8 p.m. At 7:30 p.m. Eastern and Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. All right, on to world news. Couple bits here. First of all, I'm just going to keep this light since we've been doing a lot of serious news so far. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announced legislation yesterday to ban social media for children under 16 years old. Now, the proposed law set to be introduced in Parliament in the couple weeks would require all social media platforms to bar access to children and teenage users. There are no exceptions for parental consent if they're under the age of 16. If approved, companies would have 12 months to implement the blocking measures or face fines. And the platforms would be the ones to bear the responsibility. So if a kid were somehow to be able to get on the system, they would not be punished. It would actually be the platforms, the social media themselves that would be punished, and not the parents as well. That being said, the argue is that there's a denigration of our children's mental health due to social media. Being a digital marketer, being someone who teaches and created my own social media course for small business owners, shameless plug, please go to MVP Specialty Marketing Business if you need any digital marketing services, sports, entertainment, small business, whoever, wherever. Anyways, I can wholeheartedly and 100% say this is completely correct. It does. It not only harms the mind of our children, it harms the mental health of our adults and anyone who uses social media. So I actually agree with this ban and think it should be implemented everywhere. Now, I would actually move it down to 14 probably, but I don't have kids. So if you're out there, Flo, you're out there arguing about everything else, what do you think? You have 3 daughters. What age would you have wanted them to get on to social media? I say 14, but I agree with a ban because about 95% of teens use some kind of social media, spending an average of 5 hours a day on social media. And the 41% that have high use says their mental health is poor or even very poor. The U.S. Surgeon General has called for a tobacco-style warning label on social media platforms. I don't think that's going to work at all, but I agree with that as well. It'd kind of be just like a placebo, like when they used to put the explicit parental advisory stickers on the CDs. I mean, no one really paid attention to that except my mom. Real funny, quick story. One time, the first hip hop album I bought, I think I was like 12 years old, and I went to my mom took me to the PX, and they were kind of lax at the PX. So I went back and I bought the Above the Rim soundtrack, the movie that Tupac played in. Great soundtrack. What a great soundtrack. But when she saw it, and she saw it had like the parental advice, I might have been like 10. I had to be like 10 when that movie came out. I think that movie came out in what, 88? No, 92? 93. That movie came out. So I was 10. Yeah. 10 or 11. Okay. Anyways. And she saw the parental advisory sticker and she took it and she threw it away. I was like, well, I mean, that sucks. I don't know why you just did that after you just paid for it. She was obviously the one to pay for it. I didn't pay for it. But that's just a hilarious little side note. I ended up getting the album later anyways. Great album again. Shout out. And great movie. Shout out. Shout out my brother Canteen, baby. Shout out my brother. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, again, the Bottom Line Sports. No, that's not true at all. Actually, I just told you she made almost $1 billion and she did not spend over that. She did not win. Your candidate won. I don't know why you keep going on over her. She's not even going to be in your mind anymore after January 20th. So I don't know why you keep harping on this. We've moved on, and now I've moved on. Stop. All right. I love you. Canada has now, this is another thing. Canada has now ordered TikTok offices to shut down in the country over security risks. That ban does not affect the in-country access to the app, though. So people will still be able to use the app, but the actual offices where they house workers and stuff cannot be in there. Now, in my opinion, back when Donald Trump first brought up that TikTok ban, I actually thought that was one of the smartest things he ever brought up. I personally, again, we've talked about my experience in the military and things like that. The Chinese own TikTok. So anybody who's on TikTok, your information is with the Chinese right now. So they have your stuff. You might as well stay on there at this point. But if you're not, I would advise you probably not to go on there because then they're going to have your information too. Now, if you don't care, that's fine. It's one thing for the United States to have your information. which they do, all of you. But it's another thing for a foreign country to do that. So again, I think that's good. I think they should also do that here. But then all the teenagers, little teen queens would come after me and be pissed because there's no more TikTok. So never mind. I take it back. Moving on to pop culture. Again, make sure you're subscribed at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. Hit that like button, that love button. Pop culture. So a couple of cool notes I found. The new Star Wars film trilogy is in the works from Lucasfilm and Disney. It will be live action, the trilogy, and will be written and produced by the X-Men writer and producer, Simon Kinberg. So we'll see if this is actually good. I'm not the biggest fan of live action movies, especially when their original form or their other forms have been very much enhanced by CGI. And I know they still use the CGI in live action. I just find it to be a little bit different, not as enjoyable. It's still enjoyable. So that's why I brought it up. I love Star Wars, so I brought that up. Now, Denzel Washington has been tapped for a role in the upcoming Black Panther 3 film. Now, if you know, he's in the new Gladiator film that just came out along with the Wicked film, which we'll talk about in a second. I got a fail for the Wicked crew, but he has a role in the upcoming Black Panther 3 film for those of you Black Panther fans. Cool. All right. Just a couple notes there. Let's move into our sports, and then we will be bringing our guest on. So first of all, a couple of news for the couple sports news items. Excuse me. So the ESPN has its new flagship streaming service coming out, targeted for a fall 2025 debut to coincide with next year's football seasons. They are going all in on this. It's going to use enhanced features like multi-screen, full integration with ESPN Bet, AI. Jeez Louise, why am I blanking on that word? Personalization, AI personalization, to just enhance the subscriber's experience. If you know me, I am a mark for ESPN. I do love them. So I think that this should be good. Now, I am an ESPN Plus watcher. I've been doing that for a lot of time as well. So I still have ESPN Plus, but I am excited to see where they go with this. I'm kind of worried as well, though, too, because like what happens if it's not as good as ESPN Plus, and they put all this work into it and then they don't want to change back. Like, I'm kind of worried about that because, again, I really enjoy that ESPN Plus platform. So also another note, the NFL has a little bit of a America's team issue on their hands, so to say. So what they found this year is that with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce being together, that effect, plus the Dallas Cowboys regressing in how good they are, they have found that the 6 out of the 9 highest TV ratings this year have gone to the Chiefs, while only 3 have gone to the Cowboys, while last year the Cowboys had 6 and had the most. And so again, this can be attributed to that same exact effect, which is the Chiefs are getting the boost in the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift relationship, and B, the Cowboys are having a bad season. So in retrospect, what we're seeing is a little bit of a switch in the TV ratings. But what I want to put y'all on to is a couple things. First of all, don't be confused, because even when the Patriots had their dynasty run of like 7 years, or 7 Super Bowls rather, over that period of 15 years, screw the cheaters, Tom Shady, Bill Belichick, excuse me, I had a little cough there. Even though they were really good all those years, they are still not considered America's team. And once they sucked, the Cowboys, who were still there all along, even though they had some down years, went right back to the top. So we may see the same thing happen here. We may see the same thing happen here when you're looking at that dichotomy of the heightened popularity of one team and success of one team versus the negative regression of another team. But they still haven't lost their popularity. And I can tell you that because I was at Cowboys Stadium this past weekend and it was completely full. So, all right, let's go into some wins and fails of the week. 2 wins of the week. Coco Gauff, the tennis star, she completed her season. It was a little up and down there, but she won the WTA finals in Saudi Arabia for a $4.8 million winner's check. It represented the biggest payout in women's history. Obviously, we're looking at Saudi Arabia, right? So of course, we're gonna see her winning a lot of money in those sports because the Saudi Arabians have the PIF fund, which they're now using to sports wash or bring a lot of their of sports teams and sports events to their country to solidify themselves as one of the places to be for sports. Also, in NASCAR, for those of you who are in the NASCAR world, Joey Logano won his third in 4 years, NASCAR championship this weekend. I'm just looking. I'm looking to send a message to my guest to make sure he can get on here. But he beat his Team Penske teammate, Ryan Blaney, in a tough, tense competition that came down to the final race. Ryan Blaney was last year's winner as well. So 2 of the best drivers down there went to the wire. Let me get this to him. So shout out to both of those people who won championships this weekend. All right, there we go. Sent that to him to make sure he's with us. Now a fails of the week. The Lakers, the Fakers, the Los Angeles Fakers. What are you doing? Canteen, if you're watching, you had it. They're sending Bronny to the G League. What does this mean? They say it was the plan all along. I don't believe that. I believe they saw that he needed more practice, more ways to get into the groove to be able to get better if he wants to stick in the NBA. But this is where it gets weird, and this is a part that's going to go a little bit be a little contradictory against my argument, is that he's going to play for the South Bay G League, which is the team affiliate. But he is not expected to play any road games. So he's only going to be playing games at home. That really makes no sense to me then. Why not just keep him on the team and let him go on the road with his dad and learn from a bunch of professionals instead of when he's home, or even better, let him go on the road with those kids, learn the road life of the NBA, and then learn at home from his dad. So a little bit of a weird thing. I'm calling that a failed experiment already, and I have for a long time, but this is just not going to work out. Once LeBron retires, Bronny is going to be retiring with him. I'm sorry to say that. I'm not trying to bring any hate upon the kid. I wish him nothing but best. I actually hope he proves me wrong, but it's not looking good already. More fails. And y'all are wrong for this. Y'all are really, really wrong for this. This is your fault, world. This is all of y'all who be watching my program right now. This is your fault. Olympic sensation and Australian breakdancer Reagan is going to retire. No, all the love and joy she brought us with her T-Rex dance and her flailing on the floor like she was a water spout out of control or a loose hose. Man, come on. Why y'all do that to that girl? Why y'all do that to that poor lady? I mean, she ain't a girl. She's a 30-something-year-old woman. Ain't nobody else want to do it. She obviously was picked for her country. Ain't nobody else want to go do it. At least she had the gumption, the personality, the charisma, the riz, as the kids call it these days, to be able to go out there on the world stage in front of millions of people and have fun. And if more people in the world would have fun, like her and not be so serious and be a little loose, we wouldn't have so many damn problems in this world. So shout out to you, Ray Gun. I appreciate you. Obviously, no one else does, but don't worry about it. I know you're also a teacher, so I know you have your side job. Don't let them upset you again. I know that it was the world at large that upset you that did this. We need to stop. We need to be better. All right, y'all need to be better. Don't mess. Why y'all messing with Ray Gun? I'm sorry, Ray Gun. Shout out to you, girl. Next one. Look, golf ain't for everybody, and it will prove the most high accomplished athletes. It will prove them to be humble, to be mere mortals. Caitlin Clark was at a pro-am this weekend, and she showed that she's just like us. I mean, she may be a little better than me. I'm not very good, but she showed she's a little just like us when she hit the ball. Excuse my, this is going to be a hook, I believe, because it went left. I don't think the shank is to the right, if I remember my golf terms correctly. It's been a while since I've been on the course. I need to get back out there. But she ended up going right into the crowd and almost hitting some people. So, which reminds me of the Pete Hegseth, going back to that Donald Trump cabinet selection that I was talking about earlier. You got to go see the video where he was downtown New York doing axe throwing, and he hits a West Point band member in the arm with the axe. You got to see it. It's horrible and crazy and kind of funny at the same time, but I feel bad for the guy. I hope he's okay. Last but not least, before we bring our guest in, who is here waiting backstage, Mattel, one of the biggest fails we've ever seen. Mattel came out with their new movie Wicked. The movie is apparently doing tremendous, but the dolls not so much so. The marketing not so much so. And you know me as a marketing guy, I'm going to harp on this. I'm going to say something about this. First of all, they, since it was the Wicked Witch of the West, they used WWOW. Now, I'm not going to go tell you to search that out. Actually, I'm going to probably tell you to not search that out because it's not appropriate for home or work life, let's just say. And then on top of that, the makers of the doll did not put the right website, and instead of putting wickedmovie.com, they put wicked.com. Again, I would ask you probably if you're at work, home, somewhere not suitable for work, probably don't want to go ahead and navigate to that website. Can tell you right now, it's a little X-rated. I did not search it. I could just tell you from obviously the news story. You know what? Let me just stop before I dig myself a hole. Anyways, they really dug themselves a hole with this one and screwed the marketing on this, screwed the pooch. I can't believe they did this. Such a big company would not Google these things first. Someone wouldn't be like, yeah, maybe we should look at that acronym. Maybe we should check to make sure that website is right. Huge, huge marketing fail. That being said, all right, we are going to bring in our guest. Again, he goes by the Felonious Chef, a.k.a. My boy KB, and he is a musical artist, a sous chef, and he has a dream to build his own restaurant. We will talk about all that today in this exclusive interview. So let's welcome him in, the Felonious Chef. What up? What up? What up?
What's good? What's good, my man?
What's good?
Hey.
What's good? I like the fit. You don't gotta be looking like you hiding out from the cops, but I like the fit. It's okay.
Nah, man. Look, man. It's about the food, man. It's just, if you know the name and the face behind this thing, man, it's food first right now. You've seen enough of my face now. Now come get a taste, yeah?
Yeah. So let's get into that then.
Man.
First of all, right? You obviously
Yes, sir.
The Felonious Chef. You've been a sous chef for a long time. First of all, I want you to go ahead and give out your
sous chef executive chefs, man. We've been to the top of those kind of things too. Let's kind of make a few corrections.
Hey, thank you for correcting me. I thought that was the top of the top.
Hey, there's different levels because it's a brigade type of system, but all in all, it has really nothing to do about a title or any of that. It's about what you put out on those plates, first and foremost. and that's the last thing, because the people is gonna have to say. The people has to say about the food. Feel me? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
So
definitely feel that. So before
no,
we move on, though, I
absolutely.
do want you to give out your Instagram handle because I know that's where you do your food stuff, and I know you haven't been on there for a while, but now I'm forcing you to.
Yeah.
So go ahead and give that out so people can
Yeah.
start following you and see
Um,
the all the cool videos and pics.
as the name says, man, at Felonious Chef, that's the Instagram handle, and then you have at Grits and Glamour, that's the other handle as well. So yeah, go check those out. As the professor said, I haven't been on in a minute, but we're doing some revamping, and bringing uh the art back to this culinary culture, and this is one of those things that's a part of that. um and this is we're about to bear witness, right? This is a grand appearance. Nobody's seen this yet. Nobody's seen this. It's the first time, first run. So it's a pleasure to be on my guy's platform right now, and we're about to introduce this to the world, you know
Yeah, no, I
and
love it.
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah,
reinvention of the persona is
yeah,
beautiful. Um,
yeah,
And so
yeah,
before we get into that, before because you are an aspiring podcaster, and obviously we
yeah,
talked about you, and
right.
obviously we talked about you do want to own your own restaurant here shortly. But let's first talk about Grits and Glamour. Tell everybody what
Yeah.
that is and kind of what was behind the
Okay,
idea
man. Yeah,
behind that.
yeah. You've seen it back here, in the back, on the, on the, yeah, it's here, right,
The
right, right. We put it in your
logos,
face a
yeah.
little bit, right? Yeah, right. But first and foremost, Grits and Glamour. Grits, getting rich, it takes sacrifice. So, and then, you get
Acronym
to
on
that
point.
level. Yeah, man, you get to that level, man, it's all glamorous, you know what I mean? So, it's gritty and glamorous. But while you even getting into that that rich, so-called rich point, it's a gritty and rough situation to get there from whatever you do, however you do it, right? But now we're gonna do this. We do this through this food, and then food and culture, and by culture I mean like the hip hop culture, the street urban culture. That's what's running through the veins, as you heard before, right? We've been artists. We are artists on many other platforms as well. When it comes to lyrical or art or graffiti or DJs doing beats and all of those type of things. We also have to understand too that many of us have so-called day jobs, right? But this ain't my job. This is my life. This is, again, what's in my blood. So I've been able to fuse both of those two things together, make a beautiful marriage out of it. And those who've seen and witnessed already, they already know what time it is. They already know what time it is. You know what I mean? Like, I need to
Well,
hit you
Clubber
next
D, he
time.
already knows what it is. Clubber
Yeah,
D says, "What's
yeah.
up, KB?" You got the shout
What's
out
up? What's up?
from
What's
Dion
up?
down there. So
Yeah, but I've been watching you boys, man. I've been watching you boys, and it's like, all right, it's like I said, it's time to reinvent. So that's in segue into why we're going to do the own restaurant and pop up. It's been talking for a minute. Where's the YouTube page? Where's this and where's that? And we've been putting a lot of energy and effort into other people's things, you know,
mm,
um, and seeing their things flourish, and which, that's paying dues, rightfully so. But, now it's time, now it's time again to really, really focus in on the Grits and Glamour thing. Um, while we still, cultivate a healthy environment within the industry underneath the mask, because the guy underneath the mask has to do some things before too, right? As we're
mhm.
moving along. So, you know, um, but we still take the same philosophy hand in hand. You know, we go in here guerrilla style, do what we do, make some changes for the better. You know what I mean? But we gotta take over. You know, that's why it's like, why are you looking like, yeah, because I'm ready to take over. I'm ready to take it over. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you got another
and
comment here from the older club saying, "What's up?" Derek Club says, "What's good?"
yeah, what's up? That's the bros. You know what I mean? It's been a minute. You know, that's all seven old trees and all that stuff. You know what I
So
mean?
yeah,
Up in
so
the areas.
talk more about how
Yeah.
let's talk more about how the music and the culture goes into the food. Then talk about that.
So, man, one of the things if uh so I don't know how many of the listeners here really have had a chance to have seen some of the dishes that's been developed recently in the last, 4 or 5 years. But
Mm.
there's people that, once they get a whiff of this, they already had getting a good sample of a dish such as what I call the biggie, right? And
Mm.
there's a line that Biggie talks about, you know what I mean? And he describes a dish. He describes a whole dish. Why why not do that? So how do we turn up that particular type of dish, right? So we take a T-bone
Right.
steak, cheese, eggs, Welch's grape kind of thing. So
Yeah.
let's take that T-bone steak and make it a marinated beef short rib. Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh, yeah,
Right.
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 Okay, and then let's take that scrambled egg and let's just do like a sexy poached egg. Like on a good eggs Benny where you
Mm-hmm.
get that nice little run on there, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
So now we take that jelly, right? That Welch's grape. I mean, we could just, use straight Welch's grape, which would be dope. But how about we brulee that a little bit? Brulee ain't nothing but a
Mm.
technique. I mean, they ain't French but burn. They ain't French but burn. See,
Ah,
but
right.
this is
Right.
also why you get a chance to learn, though, right? Because now, culturally wise, hold on, we're not even thinking about, and then like you got the cheese eggs, so you put a little cheese on top of that. You could put like some Fontina, right? That's some nice little light white cheese on there. It melts real nice, or you could put some like some Osaka type cheese. That's a good little crumbly white, like a Spanish type of style of cheese. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but now, how does some people will relate and understand those terms on a dish when they read it, but they won't understand Big Papa. But then some people understand Big Papa, you know what I mean, and not understand the terms on the dish. So now we're melding two cultures again through two different mediums and two different art forms. And then these two different art forms come together, as one beautiful thing. And now we have a conversation where most conversations and most parties really happen anyways, in the kitchen. That's where it
And
really
so
goes down.
and so let me stop you on that though
So
before you get there, because I want to
yeah,
ask you
yes
about
sir.
the kind of clientele that this brings them. Because obviously, I've been talking a lot about the politics today and how it's split a lot by race these days. So with that sort of restaurant, though, I would expect you would get a lot of both
Ooh.
sides. How does that tie in? Do you see a lot of everyone, and then do those people get along, or
So
do you know like how does that
So,
work?
so the, that's so that's the beauty part about this, right? So I'm gonna let you like. Here's one of the things. The first time I pulled this concept together would have been honestly 2020, which would have,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like maybe June, July. No, actually it's September something. I got video footage of all, right? And all of it from the very first one. You know what I mean? You got to kind of have those things. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? But um we what was interesting was because everybody was just open, the world was kind of just opening back up. And what you had was, you had, your punk hipsters over here who had the art space because it was a cool little art lofty space. It was private, and they were revamping some things, you know what I mean? And then, actually had like my upstairs neighbors because I lived in a condo at the time. This is Norfolk, Virginia, right? So I'm living in Park
Shout
Place,
out,
kind of like the hood. Shout out Park Place all day,
Norfolk.
right? Kind of thing. And long story short, it brought together people that not just because they've been locked up and cooped up, but people that necessarily wouldn't have come together, but they came together because, for one, they knew the man behind the mask, but they also knew the food as well, and they knew what was coming about, and it brought the smokers, it brought the some of the family people, you know what I mean, like, because it was an event that was different, but had many different facets to it, because it was it's a performance piece, man. Next time we set up something like this, man, I have to shoot you some video stuff so you can slide some clips in there, something like that, because the footage is there, right? So the proof has been there. Yeah. So to see what it can be and what it has been, is that thing of a gathering, and it's not about the color, you know what I mean? It's about, for one, the food, and then the performance around it, because it's an open kitchen, right? And the conversation and the conversation behind all of that at the same time. So again, it's a melting pot.
So yeah, and so that's beautiful, right? You have this, and that's what I expected you to say, because I figure when I'm thinking about this concept, I'm thinking about every kind of race, color, creed, everybody just together, enjoying themselves, listening to the music, having good food, trying new concepts. But not that is still in your present. But now you're evolving and you're moving on to a bigger and better venue that still combines all of these things, but obviously you want to bring your dream forward a little bit. So put your dream out into the world, manifest it into existence, tell the people what you're thinking about doing.
So
both podcast and restaurant wise, it don't matter, whatever you want.
Okay, so this is what we got cooking we'll put it like everybody should know, right? It's on the fast burner. We got the podcast jumping off, food for thoughts. It's a conversation about culinary and culture and how all of those things meld together, right? Just another facet of getting deeper into what you've heard about what grits and glamour is, and then we'll meld into some history and why, like even why certain things are with certain terminologies. We want to educate at the same time, but still have a good time, because again, it's a conversation, and every conversation around the table is not centered around food, but it's centered around food, I should say. It's centered around there for a second. Hold on. Okay. The headset wants to act.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're back. Mm-hmm.
All right. Where headset wants to go up, but it's all right though. Little technical difficulties. Not many.
Always.
But
good.
Yeah. So, we got that on the back. We got that on the front end. Front end is that. What's always been there. But now we're gonna bring this back to life is the private. Is the private things, like, yo, you got, you got a situation where you want to 6-8 people, pull some money together and actually have a true quality experience tailored to all the things you like, maybe a few things you may not like, but have top chef's level, restaurant, and beyond, because it's done in your space and in whatever place you want it to be. So you can definitely hire the guy out. You just got to get at me. Hit me in my DMs. You can get at Professor. He'll let you know. And we travel well, so don't worry about all that.
If y'all need a little,
we can make it happen.
what do they call that?
Yeah.
They call that catering, right? Is that called catering?
Yeah. Right. It's catering, right? Yeah, catering. But so beyond that, the restaurant,
but it's much bigger. I should not have said catering. It's much bigger than that. I apologize.
It's an experience. It's not catering. But it's a catered experience, okay?
Yeah.
Because it's curated, and that's what's one of the major buzzwords that was being used before, right? And that's what it is. It's actually a curated experience for the patrons and whoever's involved in that, right? So those are the short term little deals. Long term, man, we're looking at pulling together
again, something I feel that's just that's not really out there, but this um, commercial studio and dining studio at the same time, right? So you want to be able to showcase the 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 talent and skill within whatever community that it's in, for one, um, but also to have these multifaceted things that are involved with what's going on in today's culinary arts and industry, right? That's the multimedia. I've got my own cameras and things set up, and and shots and all those kind of stuff like that. That it's hard for a lot of us that don't have the means and wherewithal to promote themselves, but want to, in a way. So where's a kitchen and a space where you can come in and do that, and then not just be a commercial studio space, but also a functioning space, so where, it's always going to be a constant, a continual rotating concept, because I'm always rotating and and changing something up. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that's constant, is the change. So, we want to keep it moving, as ingredients stay fresh, we got to stay fresh,
Hey.
and so, but it's got to be the other deal is, what's one of my big things is, when you're done playing restaurant, is come chill in the kitchen. So it's a relaxed, open atmosphere. So it is the patrons sitting right, damn near hand in hand with the chef at the table. You know what I mean? Where we're in the, big long butcher block. Just imagine, right? Just the studio kind of thing. And we're having even a conversation like this. Now the conversation is this, and I'm cooking, or you're talking to the cat who wants to come in and say, yo, I want to try this dish. And yeah, he works at, blah, 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 around the corner. You know what I mean? And I'm culture wise, I'm a late night cat, dog. So, you know what I mean? Like, I need this thing to be not even start jumping till 10:30, 11 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? And we actually, really not just like do what we do, but do what we do.
Yeah, yeah. A little night.
And it's centered around the food thing, man. It's centered around the food. But that's one of the long terms, man. There's some other things that, that's really a big thing. That's, I don't want to blow no lids off of stuff like that, but there's some real good dope concepts that's out there that, I had the professor look his eyes on, and things like that. That's to like just high luxury, we upper echelons with things. You know what I mean? That's the fun part, right? That one's the fun part. There's a line that I don't think anybody's quite tapped yet. That just think of Pullman Porter. If you know what that is, everybody should go look that up. So that's missing. That's missing in an industry, you know what I mean? So I don't want to drop too many jewels, but that's missing in the industry. Pullman Porter, look that up. That's all the homework, right?
Yeah, that's the homework. Look at Pullman Porter. But we do have a fan question from Gian himself. Who are some of the chefs that inspired you the most?
Man, chefs. I mean, that
is there anyone that inspired you the most? Did you have a mentor?
I mean, honestly, I'll be real. There's not been a mentor in this space. This is something that I just was good at, picked up, and realized that I could be me. I could even be I could be me in this space, yo. So I'm gonna be me in this space. And once I really dove into it, I just soaked up it all, right? So I did a Bizarre Foods dinner, inspired behind, Andrew Zimmerman and that show, right? And, there was a thing, you should go on Chopped. And it's like, I play Chopped every day. So I pulled that mentality out of the hat, out of the ether, right? And just like, yo, I'm playing Chopped every day. So when you do see me on Chopped as a Chopped champion, it's all good. You already heard me say it, right? Type of thing. Although I still got to, do all the things for that. But long story short, there's a lot of what's inspired me is the creativity. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say it's necessarily a chef that's inspired me. You know, it's the creativity of it. It's the ability to have expression and freedom of expression, and the biggest portion that really is that comes back from that expression is a clear plate. Right, that's the biggest compliment that could
That's
be.
exactly right.
You know,
Yeah.
there could be the compliments to the chef, and you know, it's a thankless job. You know, it's a lot of it's behind closed doors, and a lot of people don't get a chance to see what's going on and
The magic.
feel that. And so what they have to feel is on the plate. And unfortunately, man, a lot of people have been going away disappointed in the last few years, man, about what's been coming out behind some closed doors. You know what I mean? But there's also been some fantastic things that you see, you know, that people are doing, you know what I mean, in bigger spaces. But that's where the change has to come, you know. You should be able to access these type of things, not just in a big city or big city adjacent. You know, these are things that should be able to come to you, whether it be by my hands or somebody inspired by my hands, you know what I mean, or this thing, you know. That's the other portion of that. That's where they said the education portion comes into this, where you learn more than just the food, but why it comes and where it comes from, you know. Because I've got some dishes behind my guy that hip hop cat I listen to, man, underground. Shout out to Crime Apple. But this dude, you know, he's got I mean, you know, there's a lot of references to food that just is like, okay, where as a chef and then somebody who's always thinking on their toes, I'm like, how many dishes can I pull out of these things, you know? And so we pull off one of these dishes, hasn't yet been done, so let's do this one, but it's called tiburones. And if you know what tiburones are, you know, so, and you know, he's got a few little things where he talks about tiburones, he talks about, you know, popping up in panko and all these different little things, and I'm like, panko encrusted shark, ooh, right, with you know what I mean, with some like crumble like feta type of cheese on there, because you know he's always talking some cheese shit or whatever, you know. Excuse my language for the people.
No, you good. You good.
You know, yeah. But you know, it's those type of things, right? And so now you think about some kid who sees that, or some, not even just kid, some other chef who hears that, it's like, oh shit, I listen to that shit, and now they might be listening different, even just to the music, you know what I mean, and now inspired to even dig into who that dude is. Like, okay, now you know what I mean? And here we go back down, you know, we can go down a whole another rabbit hole, you know, and then you take in just simple words and feeding people, right, and then having them actually eat some words, you know. But the other thing too is the factor of what it brings is you have to bring technique to this as well, right? So that's where again conversation comes in. Conversation comes deep into play, because now this technique that's being brought to something that's just as simple as some so-called as simple as hip hop music, right? That's got very, you know, sometimes simplistic undertones with the way
not simplistic at all.
No, I'm not saying like,
no, I know that. I know you're not saying it. I'm clarifying for the fans.
Well, I'm saying more like
no, I got what you were saying. I was agreeing with you.
Yeah. You know, okay.
Like a lot of people think it's simple, but the amount of brain power it takes and creativity that it takes.
Right.
Like that.
And then, but there's also as a chef's mind, right? And the chef's mind, and other chefs will understand this, you know, and other people cooking when you really listen to it. There's also a lot of simplicity in the ingredients of the food. Like salmon's a very common fish, but it's put on in the hip hop world, is put on a higher pedestal as something that's luxurious, like shrimp and lobster. Like those are very, very common ingredients and just common things that aren't really, there's a whole lot of other things that are way more luxurious than those and way more tasty. You know what I mean? And even in the same category, even the same category, but it's not put out there, right? It's not the thing that's put into a lyric. But then when you do hear a guy like Mayhem Loren talk about steamed monkfish and banana leaves, my dude, my guy,
Hey.
my guy. Now we talking poor man's lobsters. My chefs know what I'm talking about. See, and now here we are having a whole nother thing, based upon the culture that, didn't raise me but made me, kind of thing, you know what I mean? And brought this. Here it is, right?
Here it is. Here it all is.
Here
Take
it
it
is.
all
For the world
in,
to see.
everybody.
Yeah, the revamps.
Take it
Yeah,
in.
we're gonna work
You
it
wanna
all
make
out.
sure
Yeah. We gotta fix the
you
face.
definitely gonna get it worked out. Make sure that make sure that y'all again take it all in. Take in the felonious chef at his finest. Make sure
it's a lot.
you go
It's
to
a lot, but it's worth it.
Make
It's
sure
a
you
lot.
go
It's
to
worth it.
Instagram.
Yeah,
at
the Instagram
Felonious Chef.
again. Yeah,
Yes.
you tell him.
Gotta follow
Felonious
him
Chef,
there.
man.
Yeah,
Right.
And at Grits
That's
and
Grits
Glamour,
in.
right?
Yeah, Grits in
Grits
Glamour.
N with just the N in the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with the N in Glamour.
No, definitely check it out, because for food videos and food images and images that are going to catch your eye, colorful plates, things like that. Felonious Chef, aka my boy KB, as I call him. It's hard to call him Felonious Chef all the time when I call him KB. But anyways, he has a nice array of pictures and videos on his Instagram profiles, and he's also going to be starting to build that up more now that he's going to be getting into the podcasting, as you heard, with Foods for Thoughts, his new podcast coming out soon. And also, right, he talked about how he wanted to do customized, exclusive catering experience, that if anyone is interested in, make sure you reach out to us and we'll get you his information, or reach out to him. And then he also talked about the huge restaurant dream that he has have a little dining.
You gotta be
studio.
lofty, baby. You gotta be lofty.
You gotta have your big goals, and he wants to bring that to a city near you. So if you know someone that would like to invest in this restaurant concept, I can tell you right now that you're not going to find a much tastier chef around than this man.
Or many others, or multiple others too. You want to talk about concepts? We've got concepts built out. Again, that's a passion thing, right? You talk about, that's the biggest of the big, right, on the things. Yeah. But when we talk about, again, I said, look up Pullman Porter Services, look that up, right? You understand when that comes about, there's a lane that's waiting for this, you know what I mean? I've got it, got the blueprints, you know what I mean? I've got, you see, look, this is some of just the merch, right? That's also part of the culture, like there's designs for shirts and clothing, and those are the things that people like to have and like to have a piece of, you know what I mean? And there's some people out there that's got some glitz and glamour sweaters and shit and some things, you know what I mean? We drop some shirts and on the low and let things, be as they may. So when it really blows like it's supposed to and going to, there'll be a, they'll say, I remember when, I remember when, and that's all good, because it's going to tie right back to this. And probably one of my final thoughts on this, right, is one of the biggest things that I do about food, and what it really inspires me as well, is the fact of when I'm creating a dish, I want there to be a memory that's jogged, and most of people's, if not all people's fondest memories are from a food memory, is a jaw, you know what I mean? If you hit that right taste bud, you take them right back to grandma's house, you take them right back to Thailand, you can take them right to Guatemala, you can take them to Jamaica, you can take somebody all the way around the world, and while they sit right there in front of you in their kitchen, dog, so, and I myself may not have even have traveled all of those places, but understanding the essence. So, so I can go on for days, but you understand the essence, soul food, right? You understand the essence of a thing. Why you do a thing, Yeah,
you don't have to visit a place to understand the culture, and you don't have to, necessarily, be so into the know that you can't figure out your way around certain dishes, and especially when you have the creativity that you've talked about today, when you have the skills that you've talked about today. I mean, I've seen you turn nothing into amazing things, and I know that especially with the dishes you just described for us today sound amazing, and you just brought those out of regular everyday food items. So I know that a lot of people on here today are probably really hungry, but I know that they also want to
It should be.
keep up with you and
let them cook.
support that dream.
That's
So
what
we
kids
will
say
definitely
now,
have,
right?
yeah.
Let
So we
them
will definitely
cook.
have the Felonious Chef, aka KB, on in the future. Once he starts his podcast, we'll bring him back on. How about that? I'll make him have to start the podcast.
Oh
he
yeah. He'll make have to start the podcast. And don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted too. Hey, we do know some sports and things like that too. We
My
yeah,
bad.
no, we could. Look, he cut me off. He cut me off.
No,
Man.
I was not trying to. That wasn't what I was trying to do. I was just trying to.
I know you was. He don't know no sports now, man. We know.
No, you know sports. If you want to come on, you want to talk with sports.
Yeah, I'm just, I know this is my guy, So I appreciate this. This is fam from way back when, and we back doing it again. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We got projects in the works for show.
Hey,
so again,
man,
make sure y'all tap in with him.
That's it. Yo, Dion and you boys, and Derek, man, I'm telling you, been watching y'all boys. You know what I mean? The rest of the crew, some inspiration on some things, man. Hey, we here now, so let's go. I ain't got no excuse now, huh?
We're here now, and honestly, I believe that you have found a good niches. The ones that you were asking about, you found really good niches. You already got a nice, flow to this. You've already got it worked out where you're feeling good on camera and within the first episode. A couple things that I will text you off air, just to fix the audio and stuff like that. But other than that, it was a great appearance, and I think that you should use this momentum to start that.
Fantastic. That's all the type of feedback we like to hear. When I asked them this one of these things when it comes with one of the dishes, you know what I mean? Say questions, comments, concerns. I slide a fresh dish right in front of somebody. They don't know, like they be like, "What is this?" This is exactly what that is. What is this? Just try it. Here, try it. Tell me what you think. Questions, comments, concerns. You got to eat it first before you critique it. You know what I mean? You got to take it in a little bit before you critique it. Don't just look at it. It's like, oh, I don't know. Nah, if it ain't gonna kill you, try it.
Right. Gotta be a little worldly and try everything in life. And yes, Clubber D says looking forward to the pod. We all are. I will make sure again that I bring him back on when he starts that pod. And
yes, sir.
Before then, and I will definitely keep everybody informed of everything that he is up to when his new project starts. So, aka my brother KB, we appreciate you coming on today, my brother.
Hey, I appreciate being here. We out.
All right, thank you, brother. Be well. All right, that is one of my brothers from back in the day. One of my good friends. He's been a chef for a long time. He's been a musician, artist for a long time. He did rock music. He did hip hop music. So he's done a little of everything. He's trying to combine those fusions in the future to start his dream restaurant. So again, if anyone is interested in investing or helping him out or have any connections, please don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. Or if you want him to come serve your next customized chef experience, let me know as well. But I got to get out of here now because I know football's coming on. So I was so glad to have him on, but we only got 10 minutes left because football is about to kick off, and I want to make sure I get the last couple sports things in before we get you out of here today. So we're going to take a look at all of our sports rankings for the week as we do on a weekly basis. First of all, let's go ahead and look at as we talked about, the men's and women's college basketball has now started already. So we're going to take a look at the men's and women's college basketball rankings. So first of all, we're going to look at the men's. Number one is Kansas. They are undefeated at 3-0. Now the season just started. Most of these teams are playing lesser teams. You know how the major powerhouses will usually do non-conference to start the season, which means that they're usually lesser competitive teams that they're expected to beat. Alabama at number 2 at 3-0. UConn number 3 at 3-0. The Gonzaga Bulldogs at 4, 2-0, and Auburn at 5 at 3-0, followed up by number 6 Duke, who has the hottest prospect in college basketball right now. The man by the name of Cooper Flagg had 21 and 12 the other night, but also committed 2 costly turnovers within the last minute that led Duke to their first loss, or Duck Fook, as I am a Maryland alumni, and I hate Duke with a passion. Anyways, I love you, my Duke friends. I just don't like your school. That's all. Moving on to women's basketball for the week. Looking at our number 1 team, we're still looking at South Carolina. That hasn't changed in a long time. Don Staley still running an efficient, great ship out there. 2-0. UConn, Gina Ariema, also 2-0. They're at the number 2 spot. USC, Juju Watkins, probably the best player in college basketball right now. I hate saying that because, again, I don't like USC either. FUSC as a Bruins fan. I just had to talk about 2 teams I hate. Oh, that makes me want to throw up in my mouth a little bit. Ugh. Anyways, USC's at number 3. How are they ranked above my Bruins? Ain't this some bull? This is some BS right now, y'all. Really? You gonna rank them above my Bruins because they got Juju? We got Lauren Betts. We got Kiki Rice, my girl from Sidwell and Friends in the DMV. Shout out DC. Anyways, we're at number 5. Texas comes in at number 4, right above us at 2-0. All right, moving on. Talking about, if you saw our The Bottom Line Sports episode yesterday, make sure y'all tune into the Bottom Line Sports Sunday Surge. Sunday nights at 7:30, we go live to review every football game. And also Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, we go live to talk all sports, and I go through my hockey review, and we talk basketball and football and other things. So now that I'm adding a hockey review, we've got to go through my power rankings coming straight from the NHL, obviously. The Winnipeg Jets, the best ever. It was 15 game run, now 16 game run as they won another one. They are 15-1. 1 loss in 16 games. Wow. Fastest team to 15 wins in the history. They've won 7 in a row. Their offense is humming. 4.5 goals per game. Wow. This is obviously not sustainable, especially in the sport of hockey, but we'll see if they can at least make it to the finals this year. At number 2, Carolina Hurricanes at 11-4. Shout out my boy Chris Haynes if he's watching. My bad, I missed your call. I'll call you back, but he's out in that area. Number 3, the Florida Panthers went to the Stanley Cup won the Stanley Cup, last year. They are at number 3, 11-4-1. At number 4, the Minnesota Wild with a record of 10, 2 losses and 3 draws. Yes, there are draws in hockey. If you did not know, they will play to a regular game draw, which is after the regular period of play, the 60 minutes. Then both teams will go to a shootout. And from there, it is decided whether one team will get 2 points or 1 point or how have you. That's how they do the scoring in hockey. And then the New York Rangers at number 5 with a 9-4-1 record. So that's your hockey power rankings. Let's look at your NBA power rankings for the week. Again, straight from NBA.com. I'm a Celtics fan, and I can't even disagree with this, y'all. The Cleveland Cavaliers are 13-0. A big, fat, undefeated 0 record. They are, wow. They are playing at one of the best clips we've seen to start an NBA season ever. They are number 1 in offensive rating, and they're number 9 in defensive rating. So they have a top 10 in both. And you know, as I always say on The Bottom Line Sports, in order to win an NBA championship, you have to rank in the top 10 of offensive and defensive efficiency ratings. And that they are doing. At number 2, those Golden State Warriors, the resurgent Golden State Warriors, are 9-2 after beating their old best friend and now current foe, Klay Thompson, who had a remarkable return to Golden State. What a homecoming they gave him. I know it was a little bit of an acrimonious divorce there or breakup, but they showed the love for Klay like other players are not shown love when they return. So, number 3, the young Oklahoma City Thunder at 8-2. Again, a really good defensive team. They are number 1 in defense, but that is going to change. Unfortunately, their star, or one of their second star after SGA, Chet Holmgren, their young third year now. Big man, although he was hurt his first year. Now he's hurt again in his third year. It's sad to see. He's such a great player, and he was playing so well at such a high clip. He broke his pelvis and is going to be out 2 months. Wow, that hurts. Get better soon, my dude. At number 4, my NBA world undisputed, not undefeated. What is it? How does Paul Heyman say it? I wish I had my channel, my Brock Lesnar right now. Undisputed. Anyways, we are the champions of the world. We're still 9-2, so don't forget about us. We're still blowing teams out at number 4. And then at number 5, if he's still watching, my brother, podcast partner in crime. If you did yesterday, you saw our Combat Sports special. Clubber D, the Combat G, gave you your UFC 309 and your boxing Mike Tyson, Jake Paul picks. So if you didn't see that, make sure you go to Ball and Buds on YouTube and check out that live video from yesterday to see everything that Clubber D had. But if he's still here watching, his sons come in at number 5 with a 8-2 record. But again, injuries are coming into play here. Kevin Durant got hurt. He has a hurt, I believe it's a hamstring or a calf, and he's out for a couple weeks. So again, the injuries are ravaging the NBA early on. Jimmy Butler got hurt. Joel Embiid has been hurt. He's hurt again after just playing his first game. Paul George has been hurt. So it's been just a bunch of injuries around the league. I'm really hoping that we can figure this out. There should be better injury prevention in the 2020s by now, where we're not having as many people injured. But heck, it is what it is. Now, we'll move into our college playoff rankings for the week. The top 12 were released. The biggest surprise is Georgia. Not that they plummeted to number 12, but that they are still at number 12, but would not make the playoff, which a lot of people were confused about. Let me give you a quick educator. It's the top 12 teams, but in the top 5, it's the top 5 conference champions. So let's say an independent team at number 13, like Boise State, was a conference champion, they would jump into the top 5, and that number 12 team is no longer in the 12-team playoff. Or if they were to capture, let's say, well, actually, that'd probably be the most logical way that's going to happen. There's a couple other ways that it can, but that would be the way that there's like if independents like Navy, Notre Dame, Army were to take up too many spots, then you could also see something like that happen. So don't be surprised if your team is ranked number 12 and does not make the playoffs, because I just explained it to you. Cool. But let's take a look at these rankings. Oregon still number 1, undefeated at 10-0. They're still there from last week. They are now separating themselves from the pack. Ohio State at 8-1 is number 2. Texas, Hot Take Jake's Texas Longhorns, 8-1 at number 3. Shout out my boy Hot Take Jake at The Bottom Line Sports. Make sure you join that Facebook group at The Bottom Line Sports. At number 4, Penn State at 8-1. Now, you will say, oh, well, they lost a couple weeks ago at home to Ohio State. And yes, that is true. But Ohio State's a really good team. They fell down 1 week, and with all the other losses, they happen to move back up into the top 5. Do they deserve it? James Franklin has lost a lot of big games. We'll see what happens there. At number 5, Indiana, the first time ever, 10-0, the basketball school, not even a football powerhouse, is 10-0. Awesome for them. We will see if they can keep that up and make the playoffs. And finally, I like to do a little bit of honorable mention in each of these. Shout out to our Tennessee Volunteers here in Tennessee. They are down in Knoxville. They are 8-1. I'm going to give them the honorable mention now because, unfortunately, it's been the theme today, injuries. Their quarterback, Nico Iamaleava, was hurt last game. So we're hoping he's able to play in the huge game against Georgia this weekend, which they're calling an elimination game because they're saying if you have 3 losses, you may not make the playoffs at all. If you heard my argument on the Bottom Line Sports the other day, I think it's quite possible, maybe not this year, but quite possible we see a 3-loss team in the playoff next year, the year after, because as Heather Dinich stated on the Pat McAfee show, shout out Heather Dinich and shout out my boy Pat McAfee, let's chill soon, my dude. As started on that show, she said that there have been multiple times 3-loss teams ranked in the top 10 in the past 10 years. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And finally, with football tonight, we'll move into our top 5 football teams. Obviously, your Kansas City Chiefs are first. They are still undefeated at 9-0. Although, if you heard me the other day, again, you should be watching the Bottom Line Sports to find out all the great information from the professor. I've got all the knowledge and my boys. I'm not going to count out Hot Take Jake, Canteen, and Flo. They got their knowledge too. But if you really want some good knowledge, come check out the professor. You would have found out that I would have told you the Kansas City Chiefs have played too many tight games, and they are very lucky to be undisputed. I'm sure my boy Wildcard Mar would agree, but they're 9-0. They're undefeated. The Detroit Lions look like the best team right now, the most complete team. They're 8-1, but I think they're just more complete than Kansas City at this point of the season. They rank at number 2. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens at 7-3. Big game this weekend against the 7-2 Pittsburgh Steelers. Shout out my boy Clutch Cleveland. Buffalo Bills at number 4 with an 8-2 record. They were my Super Bowl team last year. They screwed me. I didn't pick them this year, but now they're looking like a damn Super Bowl team. Ain't that the odds? Although my other Super Bowl team last year, we don't talk about the bull-ass cowgirls. Excuse me. I know all you Eagles and Commanders and Giants fans will like that. And speaking of the Eagles, they come in at number 5 at 7-2 with the aforementioned Clutch Cleveland's Pittsburgh Steelers at number 6, and our NFL insider and DC Commanders insider Shane Peacher, his Commanders coming in at number 7. And what a segue that is, because those two teams play tonight. Don't you like how good I am at this? Damn, I'm good at this. I just segued all the way through that, and I didn't plan any of that. But I ended on the power rankings with the 5 and 7 teams that are playing tonight. Just started. We're 8:51 into the first quarter, 0-0. The Commanders have the ball. I think the Commanders are a good young team. They're on the come up. My boy Shane Peacher, our NFL DC Commanders insider, he knows that I think they're good, but I also don't. I've said this before. I don't think rookie quarterbacks can keep that sustained pace of play the whole season. So I predicted that this would probably happen to Jalen Daniels, and it has. He's slowed down. Now, mainly that was because he got injured, and he wasn't able – they wanted to protect his ribs, so they haven't been rushing him as much, but it still doesn't matter. It's still taking away from his production. With the Eagles rolling, though, right now, that Jalen Hurts has now started to have more ball control and not been throwing so many interceptions, although I do want you to check out Ball and Buds on YouTube because I got a short coming up about Jalen being very reckless with his balls. Pause. I'm going to take the Eagles in a close division game tonight. Let's go 21-17. Eagles fly. Shout out my boy. Well, I guess I can't shout out Chris Brown if I don't shout out Rob Brown because he's a Commanders fan. Y'all have too many damn fans in the DMV and y'all all NFC East. I don't understand, and I don't like it. But I love you all, and I love everybody back. And he said KD will be back. I'm sure he meant KB. We'll be back, the Felonious Chef. If you missed that, great interview on culinary and the musical business mixed together into a culinary musical chef experience. You're not going to want to miss that interview. One of the best chefs and most talented, skilled, intelligent chefs in the world. Make sure you contact us if you need him or want any of his services. That being said, thank you all for tuning in. I got to go watch football. I don't want to miss this good game. Obviously, shout out my podcast partner in crime, my brother from another, been together a long time, Dion Clubs, a.k.a. Clubba D, the Combat G. Thank him and his bigger brother, my other brother, the original D Clubs, D Clue, for tuning in, as well as my Bottom Line Sports fam, Alberto, Canteen, Hot Take Jake. Make sure you tune into the Bottom Line Sports Sunday again, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join at The Bottom Line Sports on Facebook. And if not, you can always join or subscribe at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS, at YouTube, and follow on Instagram, or just add me on Facebook, and you'll be able to see all of our content. So again, go check out that Combat Sports special from Clubber D yesterday. It was awesome. Check out the interview earlier from KB. I'll be putting out some videos throughout the weekend. Be safe. Be kind to each other. We love you, and we want to see you next week. We will see you next week for another installment of The Professor's Semanalmente. We love you, and we'll see you. Holla!
He's with the millions.
It's that world heavyweight flow. Championship belt wrapped around my waist, yo. I got that Ric Flair figure flow. Slam you on the pavement, that's why they call me Street Pro. Create heat on beat flow. Like Jordan after the second time he three-peated, folks. Get ready, set, let's go. Fight toe to toe, release the flow created by this mic pro. Lights, camera, get low. Action packed, back to back. In fact, this monster will grow. Y'all better let him know. Man with the master plan, and you have no need to know. You came prepared, now get ready for the show.
Sports professor. Oh,